The moment Amara Brooks saw Malik Turner walking toward her table in the coffee shop, her heart sank into her stomach like a stone dropped into deep water. Heavy, cold, and final. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks since she changed her number, moved into a new apartment, and rerouted every step of her daily routine. 3 weeks of sleepless nights, curled behind locked doors with a dining chair shoved under the knob. 3 weeks of glancing behind her on the sidewalk, of panic rising at shadows and reflections in passing windows. And yet he had found her. Now he was here, right in the middle of the bustling cafe, with that familiar twisted smirk, threading his way through crowded tables like he owned the place. Amara's hand trembled as she gripped her coffee cup. These hands had shaken before, when Malik cornered her in their old apartment, demanding to know why she was 5 minutes late, who she had spoken to, where she had gone. These were the same hands that had stuffed her clothes into garbage bags under moonlight while Malik snored, drunk and dead to the world. "Found you," Malik said softly, sliding into the seat across from her without invitation. His voice was low, almost pleasant, but Amara could hear the edge. She had learned that tone far too well. The air seemed to thicken around them. Though the cafe was buzzing with laughter and clinking cups, everyone else vanished in her mind. Only Malik remained, and the tight knot of fear that always arrived with him. "I don't understand how you keep finding me," she whispered, trying to keep her voice steady. She knew this pattern. Malik always started like this, soft, sweet, concerned. Then came the logic, the guilt. Then, eventually, the threats. "You can't hide from me, Amara," he said, leaning in, his breath warm and laced with something sour. "You know that." "I thought I erased every trace," Amara said, eyes fixed on her coffee cup, her voice barely louder than a breath. Malik chuckled, a sound that sent ice crawling up her spine. "Did you forget I used to be an EMT? I know how to find people, Amara." He tilted his head, eyes locked on hers. "I gave you time. No calls, no texts. I've been patient." Amara swallowed hard. "You've been following me?" "I've just been looking out for you," Malik said smoothly, his fingers tapping a steady rhythm on the table. 3 weeks. I figured you'd be thinking more clearly by now." Her grip on the coffee tightened, the warmth pushing against her trembling hands. "I am thinking clearly." "You're deluding yourself," Malik said, tone dropping, "pretending like you're fine on your own. But you're not that kind of person." Amara's eyes scanned the cafe. A few glances from strangers, but no one looked long enough to care. In the golden hum of the cafe, they might have looked like any ordinary couple having a quiet conversation. Not one where threats hid behind every line. "Your apartment's small. Freelance designer income? Unstable. You're just making life harder than it has to be," Malik continued, calmly. "Remember when you quit your job? You cried for hours. I took care of everything after that." "You made me quit," Amara snapped, "because my boss was a man, because you didn't like anyone else having access to me. You didn't take care of me, Malik. You caged me and called it love." Malik leaned in, his eyes hardening. "I never hit you." "No, you never raised a hand," Amara nodded. "But there are so many other ways to hurt someone, and you used every single one." He scoffed. "You're exaggerating. Plenty of women would be grateful to have a man care enough to keep tabs. That's not control, that's commitment." "That's fear," she replied, meeting his eyes at last. "That's shrinking myself so you didn't explode. That's not love." Malik sat in silence for a moment, as if recalibrating. "I know I messed up. I'm going to anger management. 2 weeks sober. I'm trying, Amara. Doesn't that mean anything?" She closed her eyes for a heartbeat. How many times had she heard that line? How many times had the flowers, the tears, the vows of change pulled her back? "I can't go back," she whispered. "We've had this conversation before. I love you, Amara. That doesn't go away in 3 weeks." She began to rise, but Malik's hand snapped out, catching her wrist. Not hard, but enough. "Sit down," he said quietly, steel beneath the silk. She scanned the room. A barista looked over briefly, then turned away. She wanted to yell, "Flip the table!" But Malik had trained her better than that. Outbursts led to punishment. He let go. "I'm trying to make this right." "You don't get to decide that anymore," she said, rubbing her wrist, the skin already reddening. "Trying to fix it doesn't mean I have to let you." She stood again. This time, he didn't stop her. He leaned back in his chair, narrowing his eyes. "Go ahead," he said, "but don't think this is the last time you'll see me." Amara stepped out of the cafe as if wading through thick air. Every step felt like dragging a bag full of old memories she thought she had locked away. The breeze whispered through her hair, but she didn't feel its coolness, only the emptiness. She walked aimlessly, turning into a quiet street near the park. Her pulse still hadn't slowed, and her chest felt tight, as if her body didn't trust the danger was truly over. She wondered if anyone had seen Malik grab her wrist, or the look in his eyes, half smile, half threat. Had anyone noticed? Or was this just another silent moment of a woman quietly being cornered? A bell jingled ahead, pulling her attention. In front of her was a small restaurant with a hand-painted sign, "Warren & Sons, family-owned since 1972. Warm golden light spilled out through the windows, reflecting her pale face in the dusty glass. Inside, oak tables, ivory cloth napkins, flickering candles. A different world, quiet, kind. Malik didn't belong there. She stood frozen for a moment. Part of her wanted to run home, crawl under a blanket. But then a gentle, low voice beside her said, "You okay there, young lady?" She turned. An older man, maybe in his 60s, upright and kind-eyed, looked at her not with suspicion but genuine concern. I was just walking," she replied softly. "Well then come on in, my family's place. Tonight's special's roasted chicken with lemon and herbs. Can't beat it." He smiled, gesturing to the menu board. "I'm Julian." She hesitated. Her stomach growled, but she wasn't sure she could eat. Still, something in Julian's tone reminded her of her father. Before he passed, steady, gentle, not pitying, just present. "Okay," she nodded, "I'll try." Inside, the space was calming, as if she had stepped through an invisible barrier and left chaos behind. The air smelled of basil, ripe tomatoes, and toasted bread. She was seated at a small window table, with just enough light to read the menu, but not enough to feel exposed. Julian waved toward a tall man behind the bar. "My son, Elijah. He helps me run the place." Amara glanced up. Elijah looked over and nodded. His gaze didn't scan her like Malik's. It didn't claim her. It assessed her safety. Brief, measured, safe. She gave a small nod in return. He didn't approach, didn't hover. Just enough. Throughout dinner, she barely spoke. She ate slowly, almost cautiously, as if her body wasn't used to kindness. When Julian returned to check on her, she smiled, a real one, and said the food was delicious. After the meal, as she stood to leave, Elijah was near the door, not blocking it, just present, quiet, grounded. "Eating home alone?" he asked gently. She paused. "Yes, but I'm okay." He nodded. No challenge, no push. Just wanted to check if you needed me to call a ride. She almost declined, but those eyes, still and steady, changed her mind. "A ride would be nice," she murmured, then smiled. For the first time that day, the smile didn't hurt. Half an hour later, standing outside her apartment, Amara checked her phone. No messages from Malik, but in her call log she saw Elijah, car service. She saved the number, not because she needed saving, but because, for the first time in a long time, she didn't feel alone. She didn't know what came next, but tonight, for once, she wasn't walking through the fear alone. When the car slowed to a stop in front of her apartment, Elijah didn't say much, just gave her a small, grounding nod. "Text me if anything feels off," he said. His tone didn't offer false safety, just quiet presence. And for Amara, That was more than enough. When Amara stepped into her tiny apartment, she locked the door 3 times out of habit. Each click echoed like a shield being raised. She leaned against the door and exhaled. Her body felt like it had run a marathon without moving an inch. She turned on the lights, slipped off her shoes, dropped her bag on the couch, and finally picked up her phone. 1 missed call. 1 message. She opened it. "Malik, I saw you. You looked good tonight. Hope dinner was nice." Mara's hands froze. The cup slipped from her grip and clattered onto the table. Her breath caught, sharp, ragged. He had seen her. Where? At the restaurant? At the door? Was he across the street, watching? She pulled every curtain shut, like pulling blankets over a bleeding wound. The walls felt too thin. Her skin too visible. He was still out there. She yanked the curtains shut. The room dimmed instantly. For a moment she couldn't breathe. The sense of being watched returned, heavy, suffocating. Her thumb hovered over Elijah's number. She hesitated. It wasn't his job. He didn't owe her anything. She didn't want to seem weak. Then the second message came. "Who's that guy? Some kind investor?" "You're easy, Amara. 1 dinner and you fall all over again, just like before." This time, she didn't wait. "Sorry to text late. Can we talk for a minute?" The delivered turned to read instantly. Almost immediately, her phone rang. She answered. "Amara?" Elijah's voice was calm, steady. "What happened?" "I got some messages from my ex. I think he's watching me. Are you home?" "Yes, door's locked, but I don't know where he is." Elijah didn't ask questions. He only said, "I'm on my way." 15 minutes later, a knock on her door. She checked the peephole. Elijah, calm, hands in his pockets. She opened the door. He didn't enter, just waited for permission. "You okay?" he asked. "Not really," she admitted, avoiding his gaze. "Elijah, I didn't mean to drag you into this. I didn't know what else to do." "He wasn't always like this. He used to be gentle." "Control rarely shows up at the beginning," Elijah said quietly. "My sister went through something similar. Took her 2 years to admit it. But you already said something. That's the first step." She looked up. He didn't ask, "Did he hit you?" or "What did you do to make him mad?" He just believed her. "Want me to come in, or I can sit out in the hallway until you fall asleep." She laughed softly. Not a forced one, a real, tired laugh. "Come in," she said. "But just the couch. I don't do well with—" "Me neither," Elijah nodded, stepping in and taking a seat, like he promised. They talked until nearly 2 a.m., not about trauma, not the dark stuff, just small stories. Her interior design gigs, his family's restaurant that had survived 3 generations. During a pause, Amara asked, "Why did you come so fast?" Elijah studied her before replying. "Because I seen that look before, in my sister, and I remembered what that look really says is, I don't need saving. I just don't want to be left alone." Amara didn't respond, but her tears did. Amara woke up to a knocking sound, not loud, not aggressive, but persistent. Her heart instantly thundered in her chest. The light filtering through her blinds said it was barely past 7 a.m. Elijah had left at 3 a.m. after she insisted she'd be okay. He hadn't lingered, hadn't lectured, just looked at her and said, "Call if you need to." Now, this knocking dragged her out of whatever sleep she'd barely fallen into. She crept out of bed, peered through the peephole, and her stomach twisted so hard it nearly knocked her breath out. Maliki stood there, jacket open, holding a paper coffee bag and a pastry box, like this was a casual morning visit. She stepped back instinctively. How had he found this place? She'd moved, changed everything. Only a handful of people knew. Then her phone buzzed. "Malik, you're up, right? Brought your favorite hazelnut oat latte, just how you like it? Can we talk like grown-ups?" Her fingers trembled. She moved to the kitchen, trying to steady her breath. In the process, she dropped a glass. It shattered in the sink. She couldn't let him stay long. Neighbors would notice, and Malik didn't like being noticed. The last time someone asked, "Is everything all right?" he'd gone silent for 3 whole days, punishing her with icy withdrawal. This time, Amara didn't open the door. She texted Elijah. "He's outside my door, with coffee, like it's normal. I don't know what to do." His reply came in less than 30 seconds. "Don't open the door. Don't respond. I'm on my way. Keep your phone close. Lock everything." She double-checked the lock. That small act gave her back a sliver of control. Outside, Malik knocked again, gentler this time. "Amara, open up. You're worrying me. You don't have to hide anymore. I haven't done anything. I just want to talk." His voice was sweet. Too sweet. She remembered Elijah's calm presence last night, remembered his words. "You don't need saving, just someone not to leave." And now, here he was, coming again, not out of duty, but because he wanted her safe. A knock came from the stairwell. Malik turned. "Elijah." He walked up like nothing was out of the ordinary. "Morning," Elijah said, voice steady. "What are you doing here?" Malik narrowed his eyes. "This is private, between me and Amara." "No," Elijah said. "If she hasn't opened the door, that means she doesn't want to talk, standing outside a woman's apartment after sending her threatening texts. That's harassment." Malik scoffed. "Who are you to get involved?" "I'm someone who doesn't stand by while women get intimidated." Elijah's voice stayed low, but something in his posture made Malik retreat half a step. Inside, Amara stood still, hand on her chest. She couldn't hear everything, but she didn't feel ashamed for needing backup. Malik left not long after, quietly, without a scene, but the look he gave her door promised it wasn't over. When Elijah knocked, she opened the door. He didn't say much, just handed her a bottle of water, eyes full of calm. "I'm not coming in," he said. "I just needed to know you're all right." "You saved me this morning," Amara whispered. He shook his head. "No, you protected yourself. I was just here to remind you. You're allowed to." She smiled, not with tears, but with something deeper. This time, when Elijah left, Amara didn't feel small. She felt clear, stronger. Not because someone came to rescue her, but because she chose to call someone who would stand beside her. Amara didn't expect to text Elijah the next morning, not because she was scared or anxious, but because she was grateful. The message was simple. "If you're free, I'd like to buy you coffee, as a thank you." Less than a minute later, he replied, "Just coffee, or are cookies involved?" She smiled, a real one, for the second time in 2 days. "Maybe 2 cookies," she typed back. They met at a small cafe with a vine-covered terrace. Amara chose an outdoor table where sunlight filtered through the leaves, warm but not harsh. She'd put on a touch of makeup, not for anyone else, just for herself. Elijah arrived right on time, dressed in a light linen shirt with rolled sleeves. Still calm, still steady. "You okay?" he asked. The way he used "you" felt like comfort, not possession. "I think so," Amara nodded. "I slept 6 hours last night, which hasn't happened in a while." Elijah smiled. Sleep's the most underrated form of healing. They ordered 2 coffees and 2 oatmeal chocolate cookies. When the tray arrived, Amara laughed softly. "You really remembered my favorite?" Elijah shrugged. "I notice things. Not to control, just habit. I used to cook for my mom every morning. If she didn't like something, I'd remember." Something about that simple, honest, made her relax a little deeper. Later, she spoke quietly. "Malik used to do that too. At first, remember every detail, but then he used those things as weapons." Elijah didn't interrupt, he just listened. One time I ordered a milk coffee instead of a latte. He flipped, asked who I was trying to impress. After that, everything became a question. Every schedule change, every text. She paused, looking into her cup. "And one day, I realized I didn't know what I liked anymore. I didn't know who I was unless he approved of it first. Her voice wasn't shaky or weak, just real, weighted like dust finally shaken free. Elijah nodded slowly. My sister took 3 years to like the color yellow again because her ex hated it. Amara looked at him, eyes softening. You get it. Not all of it, but enough not to judge. A comfortable silence settled, neither awkward nor heavy, just real. Do you think there's such a thing as starting over? Amara asked, eyes following the sway of the tree above. There's no starting over, Elijah replied, just starting different. And only you get to choose how. It wasn't profound, but it hit deep, she smiled. I think I've already started. Not when I left Malik, but when I stopped apologizing for things that weren't my fault. Before they left, Elijah paid without warning. When she protested, he said simply, next time you pick the place, I'll make sure the cookies are terrible, so there's no pressure. Amara laughed, pure and light, and as they walked away from the cafe for the first time, she walked beside a man and didn't feel the need to shrink. Amara thought things were finally quieting down until social media said her name in ways she couldn't control. The morning started normally. Amara woke early, made coffee, cracked the window to let in the sun. She felt okay. Not healed, but moving in the right direction. She opened her laptop to tweak a design project for a client. It was the first time in weeks she'd felt truly focused. Then her phone began to buzz, 1 message, then 3, from different people. Girl, are you on the news? News? Her stomach turned. She opened Instagram. On a popular gossip page, there it was. A photo of her and Elijah sitting at yesterday's cafe. The shot was slightly angled but clear. Her smile, his gaze soft, attentive. The caption read, real estate investor Elijah Warren spotted getting cozy with mystery woman, freelance designer, girlfriend? Her vision blurred. She didn't know whether to be shocked, angry, or ashamed. The comments poured in. Another gold digger. He's slumming it for fun. He dated her? Not surprised. Her chest tightened. Then right on cue, Malik's message appeared. Told you. All it takes is a rich guy and you're back to your old self. You never really changed. Amara's hands shook. Not because of Malik, but because she had once again been reduced to a narrative she hadn't written. She dialed Elijah. You saw it? She asked quietly. I did, he said. I'm handling it. My PR team's sending takedowns. They can't use personal photos without permission. It's not just the photo, Amara whispered. They say I'm there because of you, your name, your money. Elijah paused. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Not them, not me. Easy for you to say, she said bitterly. I spent a year rebuilding who I am. Now I'm back to being misunderstood again. Elijah, I don't know if I can survive this. Hours later, Elijah arrived. She opened the door without hesitation. He took his usual seat on the couch. No pressure, just presence. I know it feels like being stripped bare in public, he said. My sister went through the same. After she left her ex, he released photos, texts, called her unstable. She wanted to disappear. And now? Amara asked. She runs a shelter for women survivors, Elijah said. She survived public shame, and she's still here. Amara sat quietly, then said slowly, I used to think my greatest fear was being hit or locked up, but it's not. It's being seen when I'm weakest. And now it's happened. The world is staring at a version of me that isn't true. Elijah nodded. Then maybe it's time you tell the real story. In your words. The next morning, Amara opened her laptop. Not for work, but to write. Not about Elijah, not about Malik, but about being misnamed by strangers and learning to reclaim her identity. She didn't know if she'd ever publish it, but each word felt like a thread stitching herself back together. And for the first time in days, Amara didn't open Instagram first. She looked in the mirror and saw herself again. Writing her own story made Amara feel like she was taking control again. But control can slip, even with a single crack. That afternoon, while checking work emails, Amara noticed an unusual message. Someone from Elijah's past thinks you should know. She almost deleted it, spam probably, but the first line stopped her. Elijah isn't who you think. A former girlfriend disappeared after a scandal just like yours. Don't trust everything you see. No sender name, no direct contact info, but attached was a screenshot of an old article from a local paper, blurry and aged. Woman missing after accusing prominent restaurateur's son. Police dismiss charges. The woman's name, Lena Torres. The man mentioned, Elijah Warren. Amara's heart dropped. She Googled it, Elijah Warren and Lena Torres, and scandal. Not much showed up. A few articles had been removed, a thread on a forum, scattered comments. One person claimed Lena had dated Elijah in the South. Then she vanished after accusing him of manipulation and deceit. No criminal charges, no evidence. The case went quiet. Amara shut her laptop, pulse racing. She wanted to believe it wasn't real, but the part of her that had survived Malik whispered, "Don't dismiss it, not again." She didn't call Elijah. Instead, she sent a message. "Do you know someone named Lena Torres?" Minutes passed. Elijah. Yes, she was my ex. She had mental health struggles. Why do you ask? That phrase, mental health struggles, chilled her. Malik had said the same about her. She's unstable. She imagined things. She was obsessed. Amara didn't reply right away. Her mind spun. The steady gaze, the gentle gestures, suddenly felt rehearsed. Was Elijah's calm a strength, or had it always been a carefully crafted mask? Had she trusted too easily again, or was this just the damage Malik left behind, poisoning even kindness? Was he steady or practiced? She replayed every moment, the cafe, the small kindnesses, the boundaries. All of it could be real, but all of it could be constructed. That night, she didn't sleep. She paced, not because Elijah had done something specific, but because not knowing felt unbearable. If Elijah wasn't who he seemed, who could she trust ever again? The next day, he called. "You didn't reply. Are you okay?" She said slowly, "I found the article about Lena and other posts." Silence. Then, "I didn't lie. Lena and I dated. She struggled a lot. Once, after a fight, she disappeared for 3 days. Her family panicked, but she came back and left town. Later, I heard she sought help. Did you keep in touch?" "No, she chose to disappear. I respected that." His voice softened. "I'm not perfect, Amara, but I'm not hiding anything to hurt you. If you don't believe me, I understand. Just know you can leave and I won't stop you." Amara ended the call with a quiet thank you, not because she believed or didn't, but because she needed silence to think. Maybe Elijah had secrets. Maybe he was just like her, trying to move forward after pain. She didn't leap into forgiveness. She didn't run. She stayed in the gray. And that, more than anything, was who Amara had become. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't retreat. Amara chose to pause, in the gray, to hear herself clearly. A few days after that call, Amara texted Elijah, "I need time, not to leave, just to quiet things inside." Elijah's reply was simple, "I'm here, when you're ready." Amara didn't hide. She kept working, kept going to the cafe each morning, but at night, instead of curling under a blanket, she pulled out a notebook and started writing. Not a diary, a record. She documented every incident with Malik, every message, every call, the day he showed up, the fake accounts spreading rumors online. She wasn't scared now. She was preparing, not avoiding, confronting. Then one evening, her sister Olivia called, panicked. "Amara, are you okay? Some man named Malik called me, said you were unstable. He asked for your new address. Mara's grip tightened. Her voice stayed steady. You didn't tell him anything, right? Of course not. But I'm freaked out. He knows my daughter's name. The world seemed to tilt. He had crossed into her bloodline, into the sacred space she never gave him. This wasn't fear anymore, it was fury. She whispered through clenched teeth, "It's time I end this. No more silence, no more surviving in pieces." She compiled her notes and sent them to a legal friend from college, a lawyer who specialized in personal harassment cases. No tears, no pleas, just one question. How do I protect myself legally and make him stop? That night, Amara stood before the mirror, hair messy, eyes tired, but gaze unwavering. For the first time, she didn't see a victim. She saw a woman rising, inch by inch, without asking permission. Amara no longer saw herself as someone waiting to be rescued. She had found her way out. And now she wasn't just surviving, she was choosing every day what stayed. And that choice was finally hers alone. 6 months later, Amara hosted her very first interior design exhibition. It wasn't grand, just a restored loft filled with pieces tied to her journey, recovery, freedom, boundaries, and light. Every corner told a story of pain endured and beauty born from fracture. Malik was gone. After her attorney sent a formal notice and she filed for a restraining order, he disappeared, like steam on a summer street. She didn't search for him. She didn't need to, because what mattered now was not behind her. Elijah arrived early, like always, dressed in a simple black suit, holding a bundle of dried lavender, the kind she once said was soft-scented but long-letting. He stayed close all night, never in her spotlight, only beside it, solid, quiet. Near the end of the night, in a softly lit room where her safe home model was displayed, Elijah stepped onto the small platform. "Can I say something?" he asked, not to the crowd, but to her. Amara raised a brow, amused and curious. He turned to face her, eyes steady, pulling a small box from his jacket. "I didn't come into your life to save you. You never needed that." He paused, voice calm and sure. "But if you ever choose to walk the rest of this path with someone, I hope it might be me." He knelt down, opened the box. No diamonds, no flash, just a silver band, simple, with one line etched inside. "You chose." Amara looked at him, then around the room, not for approval, but to feel the space she had created. Her space, her safe ground. And when she said yes, it wasn't the surrender of a heart, but the decision of someone who had come home to herself, fully, finally.